Welcome everyone to Implementing Scrum Unscripted by Michael Vizdos. This is another episode where you get to listen in.
That's right, you'll hear two voices today. I'm here representing the expert perspective, drawing insights directly from the 2020 Scrum Guide and Michael Vizdos' work.
And I'm bringing the perspectives of a Scrum Master, maybe like you, with a couple of years under my belt, dealing with the day-to-day realities.
Exactly. And hey, if you want the full backstory on this series and why we're doing this, check out episode 10. The link's right there in the show notes.
Okay, let's jump right in. The big topic today, something I think a lot of teams struggle with. It's technical debt. We feel like we're just drowning in it. My team, honestly, we're constantly firefighting, putting out endless small fires.
Right.
And it feels like we've hit a wall. We just can't seem to deliver new value, not without breaking something else in the process.
That feeling, that constant running just to stay in place, that is the classic symptom of technical debt that's been allowed to pile up.
Yeah.
Michael Vizdos often uses this analogy. Think of it like friction, or maybe like sludge building up in an engine.
Okay.
It just slows everything down. Eventually, your actual capacity, your velocity, it grinds almost to zero.
That sounds terrifyingly familiar.
And forecasting becomes impossible.
Yeah.
Why can you predict anything? And the really critical part, that value curve everyone wants to see going up, it just flattens out no matter how hard the team works.
Okay, I get the theory. I really do. It makes sense. But here's the rub. My reality as a Scrum Master, trying to help the team, well, the product owner, the senior stakeholders, they're looking at the roadmap.
Always the roadmap.
Always. They want new features, visible progress, things they can show their bosses.
Right. The shiny objects.
Exactly. And technical debt, to them, it's just, I don't know, developer chores or maybe gold plating. Definitely not business value.
Yeah, they see it as internal stuff, not customer facing.
Totally. So how on earth do I, as the Scrum Master, communicate that this invisible work is actually critical?
Yeah.
That maybe, just maybe, fixing the leaky foundation is more important right now than adding a new window.
That is such a common pain point, incredibly common. Michael Vizdos always says, been there, done that. It's a story heard time and time again.
Good to know I'm not alone, at least.
Definitely not. And the fundamental mistake, the place where this often goes wrong, it's treating technical debt like it's only a technical problem, like it belongs solely to the developers.
Right. Let the techies handle it.
Precisely. But it's not just a tech issue. At its core, it's organizational risk. It's product risk. It's something that can genuinely threaten the whole business if it gets bad enough.
Okay, so shifting the frame, it's not developer housekeeping, it's risk management for the product.
Exactly. But how do you show that? Especially when the problems are buried deep in the code or the architecture, invisible to leadership.
Yeah, that's the question.
Well, we need to bring it back to the core principles of Scrum. You know the 3 pillars, right?
Transparency, inspection, adaptation. Yep.
Technical debt absolutely thrives in the absence of one of those. Transparency.
Okay. Lack of transparency.
When the true state of the product, its weaknesses, its fragility, the ticking time bombs inside isn't transparent, isn't visible in the key artifacts, well, what happens?
Decisions get made based on incomplete information.
Exactly. And the Scrum Guide is very clear on this. Low transparency leads to decisions that decrease value and increase risk. Technical debt is just that risk made manifest. It's the bill coming due, often with painful interest.
Okay. I'm starting to see the connection more clearly.
The real aha moment here, I think, is when the team realizes they need to stop talking like technicians explaining code.
And start talking like business analysts.
Pretty much, like business risk analysts, quantifying the danger.
Okay, so let's get practical. If we need this aggressive transparency, as you put it, where does this debt stuff actually need to live? How do we make it concrete?
Right. Strategy number 1. Technical debt absolutely must become visible. Product Backlog Items. PBIs.
Okay, not just a sticky note on the developer's wall.
Definitely not. Clear, concise, understandable PBIs. And crucially, framed in a way that's not just technical jargon.
So things like bug fixes, platform upgrades, architectural work, those are all valid PBIs.
Absolutely. The Scrum Guide defines the product backlog as the single source of work the team undertakes. All work means all work. If it takes team capacity, it belongs in the backlog. Period.
Which means it has to be visible to the product owner.
And owned and prioritized by the product owner, yes.
So we can't just have one big item called fixed tech debt, can we? That sounds fuzzy.
No, that won't work. It needs to be more granular. And this is where refinement becomes absolutely critical. Michael Vizdos really emphasizes the role of refinement here.
Okay.
Refinement isn't just about splitting user stories. It's about adding detail, context, estimates, and importantly, the why, the justification.
The why for technical debt.
Yes, what's the business impact? So instead of a PBI saying upgrade database X, which means nothing to a non-technical PO,
Right.
it needs context. Something like upgrade database X to patch critical security flaw CVE 2024, whatever.
Getting better.
Failure to patch exposes us to regulatory fines under GDPR starting next quarter, estimated at X dollars per day. Or this upgrade is required to prevent system crashes during peak load, which cost us Y in lost sales last month.
Now that sounds like something a product owner can understand and weigh.
Yeah.
You're tying it directly to risk, cost, or lost opportunity.
Exactly. You reframe it. It's not a technical chore. It's risk mitigation. It's compliance. It's cost avoidance. It's enabling future features.
Okay, that reframing is powerful, making the invisible impact visible in business terms.
That's the goal. Once it's visible, quantified, and has business context, then the product owner can actually do their job, which is prioritizing it against everything else.
Right. But that leads to the next really tough part, doesn't it? The prioritization itself. Even if the PO understands the risk, they're still staring at that shiny new feature the market is supposedly screaming for. How do they make that call? Prioritizing preventative work over immediate potential gain.
That's strategy 2. Product owner prioritization, driven by data and understanding the trade-offs.
Trade-offs like fixing this urgent bug now versus doing that bigger platform upgrade that helps us long-term.
Precisely. That classic tension. Reactive work versus proactive investment. The PO is accountable for maximizing the value of the product. And sometimes the highest value activity is reducing risk or enabling future speed, not just shipping the next feature.
But we, the Scrum team, we need to arm the PO for that discussion, right? Give them the ammunition. How do we quantify this debt in a way that speaks to future loss or future gain?
Good question. The developers play a huge role here. They need to provide data that translates the technical friction into business friction.
Okay, like what kind of data?
Well, one really effective way is to forecast the impact on future capacity. How much drag will this piece of debt create if we don't fix it?
Interesting. So not just this is hard, but this will slow us down by X%.
Exactly. Developers could estimate, if we ignore this architectural issue, we predict our velocity will drop by roughly 10% next quarter, because every related story will take longer, require more testing, and likely introduce more bugs.
Wow. Okay. That directly translates tech debt into lost feature delivery.
Yes. You're showing the PO. Look, feature A costs 10 points now, but because of this underlying debt, feature B, C, and D next quarter, they're going to cost 15 points each instead of 10.
Suddenly, fixing the debt looks like an investment in future productivity.
It connects the dots. The PO can then balance the short-term gain of feature A against the measurable, almost certain future loss of capacity if debt item B isn't addressed.
That requires some specific qualities in the product owner, though, doesn't it?
It really does. Michael Vizdos talks about key attributes he looks for. The PO needs to be knowledgeable. They need to understand enough about the business and the technical implications to grasp these trade-offs. And, critically, they need authority, the real authority to say no.
No to new scope.
Yes.
Even when stakeholders are pushing hard.
Yes. No, we can't build that new feature right now because the foundation is crumbling, and fixing that is the highest priority for the health of the product. That takes authority.
And probably a lot of courage.
Absolutely. Which is one of the Scrum values, right? Courage. Yeah. Courage from the whole team, but especially the PO, to face these difficult realities and have those tough conversations.
So the accountability for prioritizing debt, it really shifts to the product owner based on the information the team provides.
It does. They own the backlog order. They own the value optimization. But, and this is important, this doesn't let the developers off the hook.
How so?
They are accountable for quality, for maintaining a sustainable pace. They need to actively push back against pressure to cut corners now in ways that just create more debt later.
Right. That whole idea of continuous attention to technical excellence, it's not optional.
It's the cost of entry for sustainable agility. You can't keep borrowing from the future indefinitely.
Okay. So we make it transparent in the backlog, quantify the business impact, the PO prioritizes based on risk and value.
Yeah.
That sounds great within the team, but what happens when this perfectly prioritized, risk-aware backlog hits the reality of, well, Senior leadership.
Ah, yes. The next hurdle. You've done all this work internally, and then someone from outside the team, maybe someone with budget control?
Let's call him Stan, the strategic senior leader.
Okay, Stan. And Stan comes along with a big fixed scope project and essentially says, forget that debt stuff, just build this.
Yeah, that happens. That's the political nightmare. How do we handle Stan?
Well, you've hit on it exactly. Talking about technical debt prioritization inevitably leads us to organizational resistance. These systemic impediments where the wider organization's demands clash with the team's reality and the product's health.
We need a way to talk to Stan in his language, right?
Yeah.
ROI, strategic impact, bottom line.
Precisely. And that's a whole topic in itself. How do you manage those key stakeholders? How do you demonstrate the strategic value of tackling debt? How do you protect the team?
Sounds like a topic for another time.
Indeed. That's exactly what we'll dig into in our next episode. Managing stakeholders like Stan, talking ROI for technical health, and shielding the team from those organizational pressures.
Looking forward to that one. Definitely need strategies there.
But for today, let's just nail down the key takeaways for getting debt under control within the Scrum team's process.
Okay, recap for us. What are the absolute must-dos?
All right, first, transparency. Technical debt cannot be a vague shadow. It must be explicit, contextualized work items in the product backlog. Everyone sees it.
Got it. Visible PBIs.
Second, product owner ownership. The PO uses their knowledge and authority to prioritize this debt, weighing risk reduction and future velocity against new feature value. They own the trade-off.
Makes sense. PO prioritizes based on impact.
And third, developer accountability. Maintain that sustainable pace. Build quality in. Have the courage to push back on shortcuts that create new debt. Protect the future.
Okay. Transparency, PO ownership, developer accountability.
Those are the pillars for managing it internally.
So let's say I have that meeting tomorrow. Stakeholder, maybe even the PO, just doesn't get refactoring the database. What's the practical phrase I use? How do I reframe it on the spot?
Great question. Ditch the jargon. Focus entirely on the business consequence of inaction or the business benefit of action.
Okay, give me an example.
Instead of, we need to refactor the database schema, which sounds expensive and abstract.
Okay, yeah, eyes glaze over.
Try something like, we need about 2 days of team time this sprint to fix the data inconsistency issue, then add the impact. That's currently causing about 5% of our customer orders to fail before completion.
Oh.
And maybe add the trend. If we don't address this now, based on current trends, we expect that failure rate to hit 10% next quarter, costing us X in lost revenue and Y in customer support time.
Right. Now it's about failed orders, lost revenue, support costs. That's language they understand.
Exactly. Or flip it for proactive work. Don't say, we need to upgrade the platform. Say, investing one sprint to upgrade this core platform component will allow us to launch the new automated billing system 2 months sooner. Or, it unlocks the ability to cut our transaction processing fees by 15%, saving Z dollars annually.
Connected directly to speed, cost savings, or new capabilities.
Always tie it back to a measurable business outcome. That's how you justify the investment. That's the language of value.
That's incredibly helpful. Frame it around the cost of inaction or the benefit of investment, not the technical details.
That's the essence of it. Give the product owner and potentially stakeholders the business case for addressing the debt.
So, thinking about everything we've discussed, what's one small change you, listening right now, are going to make based on what you heard today? If you need assistance figuring that out, feel free to contact Michael Vizdos anytime.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Implementing Scrum Unscripted. As always, YouTube is probably suggesting another episode for you right now, maybe the next one in this series, or something else tailored just for you. Go ahead and select one of those two choices on your screen to continue learning about implementing Scrum. Focus. #deliver.